Very few players come along and leave their mark on the NBA, revolutionizing the game, changing its style, and reshaping its culture. And no one did it quite like the greatest power forward of all time, the greatest European player ever, Dirk Nowitzki.
This is long, but no, it comes back down in. Well, that's what you want Boyle doing. You don't want him down around the basket dunking the ball. He's extremely strong. Dirk with a ball fake, an elbow jump.
He changed what it meant to be 7 feet tall, a giant who moved like a guard, a shooter who could bury you from anywhere. Before Dirk, big men lived in the paint. They dunked, they blocked shots. But Dirk rewrote the rules with grace, IQ, and that unstoppable one-legged fadeaway now copied by stars like Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic. Doubted, dismissed, called soft. And yet, despite everyone counting him out, Dirk went on to do something no one in NBA history had ever done. The NBA was a storm. Dirk Nowitzki was caught in the middle, 7 feet tall, towering over most men, but still a kid from Würzburg, Germany. The game was faster, stronger, meaner. Night after night, veterans shoved him around. He fell, he got up, he missed shots, turned the ball over. He couldn't find his rhythm. He couldn't keep up. The bright lights, the roaring crowds, the endless travel, they were a language he had yet to learn. Off the court, it was even lonelier. He missed home, the streets of Würzburg, the smells, the food, the voices he knew. In Dallas, the locker room felt foreign. Teammates laughed in English, inside jokes flying over his head. He sat quietly, small in a room full of giants, alone in a crowded place. Then came the lockout of 1998. His rookie season was cut short before it even began. Less time to learn, less time to prove he belonged. For some, it looked like the end before the beginning. But Dirk had fire. Every bruise became fuel. Every doubt became motivation. Every lonely night became a promise to himself. He would survive. He would bend the storm instead of breaking under it. He practiced harder, studied more, pushed his body, sharpened his skills, learned the language of the league. He turned fear into confidence, weakness into strength. He believed that one day all the pain, the struggle, the isolation would mean something, that the league that seemed too fast, too rough, too big would one day bend to him. The storm had passed, but the real test was yet to come. By his second season, Dirk Nowitzki was no longer the lost rookie trying to survive. He came back stronger, more confident, and determined to prove he belonged. Every move on the court carried purpose. Every shot had authority. The numbers told the story. 17.5 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, nearly 40% from three. His struggles were fading. In their place stood the beginning of a star. There were nights when Dirk didn't just play, he dominated. Against Houston, he lit up the scoreboard with 31 points, scoring from every corner of the floor. Against Seattle, he poured in 33, blending size and skill in a way the league had never seen before. A 7-footer who dribbled like a guard, moved like a guard, shot like a guard. Big men were supposed to stay in the paint. Dirk rewrote the rules. Dallas was no longer invisible. The Mavericks had their future, and Dirk was carrying it on his shoulders. When the 2001 playoffs arrived, he delivered again. Against Utah, in a deciding Game 5, he scored 33 points, pulled down rebounds, and carried Dallas to its first playoff series win in over a decade. The city erupted. The team had broken free from years of near misses. The transformation was complete. Dirk's confidence was unshakable. His skill was undeniable. The foundation had been set. The kid from Würzburg was no longer learning the league. He was changing it. Everything was changing, and the NBA was about to take notice. By 2006, Dirk Nowitzki was no longer just Dallas's star. He was their hope, their answer, their everything. The numbers spoke louder than words. 26.6 points per game, 9 rebounds, nearly 50% shooting. Night after night, Dirk tore apart defenses. 37 against Detroit, 40 against the Lakers, 51 in a duel with Phoenix. A 7-footer scoring with the grace of a guard, carrying a franchise on his back. Dallas finished with 60 wins. No longer outsiders. no longer doubted, and at the center of it all was Dirk. The playoffs were his stage. Memphis fell quickly, swept aside in 4 games. Dirk opened the series with 31, closed it with 27, and barely broke a sweat. Then came the defending champs. Dirk poured in 37.
Nowitzki goes right at Bowen, and the foul!
And forced overtime with a twisting and one that silenced the Spurs crowd. Dallas moved on, and then Phoenix. Fast, flashy, fearless. But Dirk would not bend. In Game 5, he unleashed 50 points. Every shot a dagger, every basket a statement. The Mavericks punched their ticket to the NBA Finals. A kid from Würzburg had dragged Dallas further than anyone thought possible. 4 wins from basketball immortality. The next battle would test everything Dirk had become. The 2006 NBA Finals. Dallas had reached the mountaintop. For the first time, the Mavericks stood on basketball's biggest stage, and they were favorites. 60 wins. Dirk Nowitzki at the height of his powers. A team built to finish the job, but across the court, a storm was rising. Dwayne Wade, just 24 years old, explosive, fearless, a star on the edge of greatness. Dallas struck first. Game 1. Game 2. The Mavericks were in control, up 2-0, the title within reach, 2 wins away from glory. The city of Dallas could feel it. Then came the shift. Wade exploded for 42 points in Game 3, dragging Miami back into the fight. In Game 4, he poured in 36 more. By Game 5, he was unstoppable. 43 points. Every basket breaking Dallas a little more. The Heat would not be denied. 4 straight losses. A dream shattered. Dirk watched it slip away, his 22 points per game forgotten in the chaos. Critics circled. He was called soft, labeled a star who couldn't finish. The whispers grew louder, heavier, sharper. For Dirk, it was heartbreak. For Dallas, it was devastation. The heartbreak would not define him. Something greater was coming. The pain of 2006 lingered, but Dirk Nowitzki refused to fall. He returned with fire in his eyes, determined to rewrite the story. The 2006-07 season became his masterpiece. Dirk averaged 24.6 points, 8.9 rebounds, and joined the legendary 50-40-90 club. 50% from the field, 41% from 3, 90% from the line. For a 7-footer, it was unheard of. Night after night, he delivered. 43 against Phoenix in December, 38 against San Antonio in February, 30 against the Lakers in March. Every game felt like proof that Dirk wasn't broken, proof that he was more than critics ever believed. Dallas soared with him, 67 wins, the best record in the NBA. For the first time, Dirk stood alone at the top. He was crowned league MVP, the first European player to ever hold the honor. But the playoffs were cruel. Dallas met Golden State, an 8th seed with nothing to lose. The Warriors ran fast, played small, and swarmed Dirk every possession. Game 1, just 14 points. Game 3, only 13. In Game 6, he was suffocated to 2 for 13 shooting. The Mavericks fell in 6 games. The top seed was gone. Dirk's greatest season ended in heartbreak. The MVP stood alone, his brilliance overshadowed by collapse. The critics returned, sharper than ever. And yet, in the silence of defeat,
Derek Fisher free throws. Again, falling away.
Something deeper was building. After 2007, Dirk Nowitzki carried Dallas on his shoulders. Year after year, he scored, he rebounded, he stretched defenses with his signature fadeaway, over 25 points per game, 9 rebounds. Nights that reminded the league he was unstoppable. And yet, the Mavericks kept falling short. Series lost to San Antonio, to Phoenix, to Oklahoma City. Close calls, crushing defeats. A championship always just out of reach. Dirk and Dallas were resilient, but the title remained a dream deferred. By 2011, the NBA had a new king. Miami, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, the Big Three. They were supposed to be untouchable, but Dallas had Dirk, and Dirk had a team ready for a fight. The West was tough. San Antonio was still strong. The Lakers were back-to-back champs. Oklahoma City was rising with Durant, Westbrook, and Harden. To win, you had to be perfect, and Dirk was close to it. He beat Portland in round 1. He swept the Lakers in round 2. Against OKC, he scored 48 in game 1 and made 24 straight free throws. He carried the city of Dallas on his back. The Mavericks finally made it back to the finals, and against a familiar foe, the Miami Heat. With a distaste of the 06 finals loss still not fully washed from his mouth, Dirk knew this was an opportunity every elite competitor dreams of, to beat the team that snatched away your destiny years ago. This was it. This was revenge. This was redemption. But the Heat had different plans. With the Heat commanding all the attention during the season, dominating opponents in the playoffs, winning the title was inevitable, and sure looked like it from Game 1. Game 1 in Miami went to the Heat. They looked bigger, faster, and stronger. In Game 2, Miami built a 15-point lead late. Wade even celebrated in front of the Dallas bench. But Dirk wasn't done. He scored the last 9 points and hit the winning layup with 3 seconds left.
Layup, we're tied at 90.
The Mavericks had tied the series 1-1. Game 3 was close, but Miami won. In Game 4, Dirk played with a fever. He was sick, sweating, barely standing. Yet in the final moments, he drove left and scored. Dallas tied the series again. Game 5 was wild. Jason Terry hit clutch shots. Dallas made threes from everywhere. Dirk scored 29, and the Mavericks won, back to Miami for Game 6. With their electric crowd, the Heat with their backs against the wall, and the Mavericks with everything to prove. LeBron disappeared, Wade fought, but Dallas stayed calm. The Mavericks finished the job. Dirk walked off the court in tears. Dirk Nowitzki had done the impossible. That title made his legacy. He proved a European star could lead a team to the top. He stayed loyal to Dallas and beat the Miami super team. Dirk also changed the game. His fadeaway is copied by stars today, and his style inspired not only European players, but big men everywhere to play with skill, not just power.